2014 between Western and Eastern factions, with rival administrations governing from Tripoli and from Benghazi. The country has become a key transit route for hundreds of thousands of immigrants poverty across Africa, parts of the Middle East and other areas, hoping to cross the Mediterranean to Europe. Federal judge overseeing the 2020 election case against former President Donald Trump agreed to dismiss the charges following a request from Special Counsel Jack Smith, bringing to a close the historic and unprecedented prosecution of the nation's 45th and 47th president. U.S. District Judge Tanya Chutkan granted Smith's request just hours after he said in a filing that he is seeking to close Trump's case because Justice Department policy forbids the prosecution of a sitting president. After careful consideration, the department has determined that the Office of Legal Counsel's prior opinions concerning the Constitution's prohibition federal indictment and prosecution of a sitting president apply to this situation, and that as a result, this prosecution must be dismissed before the defendant is inaugurated. Smith wrote in his filing that prohibition is categorical and does not turn on the gravity of the crimes charged, the strength of the government's proof, or the merits of the prosecution, which the government stands fully behind. The special counsel noted the historic nature of Trump's prosecution and subsequent election to the presidency, writing that the department and the country have never faced the circumstance here where a federal indictment against a private citizen has been returned by a grand jury and a criminal prosecution is already underway when the defendant is elected president. But after consultation with the Justice Department's Office of Legal Counsel, the special counsel said the department's position is that the Constitution requires that his case be dismissed before the defendant is inaugurated. Massachusetts man pleaded guilty on Monday to charges that he threatened to kill Jews and bomb a synagogue, the case that U.S. prosecutors said reflected a growing nationwide torrent of anti-Semitism after the Israel-Hamas war in Gaza began last year. John Reardon, during a hearing in Boston federal courts, pleaded guilty to threatening to bomb the congregation Agudas Achim and threatening to kill children in a voicemail he left with Attleboro, Massachusetts-based synagogue in January. U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland has criticized the defendants for threatening to bomb synagogues and kill Jewish children, a move that sparked fear among Jewish congregants. The threats came after the October 7, 2023 attack by Hamas, which killed 1,200 Israelis and triggered the war in Gaza. Prosecutors allege that Reardon, a 59-year-old, supported genocide and left a voicemail threatening the killing of all Jews and stomping the babies dead into the ground. He pleaded guilty to threats-related charges and stalking charges related to 98 calls he made to the Israeli consulate in Boston. As part of a plea agreement, prosecutors recommended Reardon be sentenced to up to 2.5 years in prison. Damian Williams, the top federal prosecutor in Manhattan, who secured convictions of high-profile defendants including U.S. Senator Bob Menendez and crypto mogul Sam Bankman-Fried, announced on Monday that he will resign ahead of Donald Trump's return to the presidency. Williams, who was appointed to the post in 2021 by outgoing Democratic President Joe Biden, will step down on December 13th ahead of the Republican Trump's January 20 inauguration. Edward Kim, his current deputy, will succeed Williams on an acting basis as U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York. The office has an unusual degree of independence from the U.S. Justice Department and is known for bringing major financial fraud and public corruption cases. Trump also has announced plans to nominate former Securities and Exchange Commission Chair Jay Clayton to lead the office. The position requires confirmation by the U.S. Senate during his tenure. Williams secured convictions of former billionaire financiers on fraud charges, which he has long indicated as a top priority. Bankman-Fried was convicted in November 2023 and subsequently sentenced in 25 years in prison on charges of stealing about $8 billion from customers of his FTX. cryptocurrency exchange in what prosecutors called one of the biggest financial frauds in U.S. history. Asher Capital Management founder Sung Kook Bill Huang was convicted in July and later sentenced to 18 years in prison for manipulating stock markets, costing Wall Street's banks billions of dollars. Bankman-Fried and Huang both denied wrongdoing. U.S. President Joe Biden pardoned beach and Blossom to white plum talkers on Monday, sparing them from Thanksgiving dinner tables, an annual tradition that has also marked the start of the Democrats' last holiday season at the White House. This year's talkers are named after the Delaware state flower, the peach blossom, which symbolizes resilience. Biden, who has 2 homes in the state, told a crowd of around 2,500 people on the White House South Lawn as one of the talkers gobbled in the background. This event marks the official start of the holiday season, where in Washington, it is also my last time to speak here as your president during this season and give thanks and gratitude. So let me say to you, it's been the honor of my life. I am forever thankful, Biden said. Peach weighs 41 pounds and loves to eat hot dish and tater tots, and his dream is to see the Northern Lights, while Blossom weighs 40 pounds and loves to eat cheese curds and watching boxing, Biden quipped. The true start of what has evolved into the current tradition of turkey pardoning dates back to the Harry Truman presidency in 1947. The official tradition began in 1989 at the White House, when then-President George Bush offered the first official presidential pardon. Millions of turkeys will be roasted in Thanksgiving ovens across the country on Thursday and drenched in gravy, accompanied by a variety of side dishes, including holiday staples like stuffing, potatoes, cranberry sauce, and green bean casserole. United States has temporarily paused imports of Mexican cattle after a case of New World screw worm, NWS, was identified at the lakeside town of Cartagena in southern Chiapas state, the Mexican government said on Sunday. The United States and Mexico are working on implementing measures to resume the normal flow of Mexican exports, it said in a statement. It added that the measures did not apply to other exports and control measures were being implemented. The U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA, on Friday said that Mexico's chief veterinary officer had notified it of the detection of NWS in a cow at a checkpoint near the southern border with Guatemala. NWS maggots often enter through an open wound and feed on living flesh of warm-blooded animals, including people, USDA said. It warned that infestations can be difficult to detect at first, but can manifest itself through growing wounds, creamy larvae, and signs of discomfort. USDA said it was working in partners in Mexico and Central America to stop the screwworms spread and asking producers in the area to monitor the livestock and pets and immediately reports potential cases. Small plane traveling to Costa Rica's capital of San Jose crashed on Monday afternoon, authorities said, killing 5 of the 6 passengers on board. Firefighters said they had located the wrecked aircraft and confirmed that most aboard had died. A 6th person, who the Red Cross identified as a 31-year-old woman, is in critical condition. All of those aboard were from Costa Rica, according to the country's Civil Aviation Authority. Ecuadorian courts on Monday convicted 20 of 21 total defendants in a wide-range organized crime and drug trafficking case involving the Andean country's judicial system, sentencing them to between 40 months and 10 years in prison. Those convicted in the Matasasti's case, as it is known, include the former president of the judicial system's regulator, judges, prosecutors, police officers, a prison guard, and the former director of the SNAI prison agency, among others. Thousands of small-scale miners in Peru blocked roads and camped outside Congress on Monday to demand extension of a program that allows them to operate temporarily, but which authorities say has expanded illegal mining. A government bill sent to Congress last week gave small-scale miners a 6-month period to formalize their activities after the current program expires on December 31st. But miners say that is not enough time. Hundreds have stepped up our tents near Congress since last week, and thousands of miners in uniforms and plastic helmets have blocked the main coastal highway in the southern regions of Ika and Arequipa, leaving hundreds of freight and passenger vehicles stuck for up to 5 kilometers. The program, known as Reinfo, started in 2012 and gave workers a temporary permit while they waited to be formalized. Reinfo has been extended several times and currently has 85,000 registered artisanal miners, only about 20% of which have been formalized. Many workers have used the temporary permit to mine in prohibited areas or third-party property without having to comply with labor or environmental regulations, according to authorities and private mining companies. Attacks on formal mines have said that there is strong competing interest between Congress and small-scale miners that could escalate. You're watching the international news on Atlantic Television Network. Still ahead, brawl erupts in Serbia Parliament. We'll be back after this break. Do stay with us.